If you were to make a list of existential fears that we have as a species and are obsessed with, artificial intelligence would be on that list. But just like with any other technology, if we use it instead of just letting it use us, then it does come with the potential of improving many of our processes, including the ones for learning. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 different AI tools that I'm already using in my personal knowledge management system, in particular for reading, writing, summarizing, linking, and also visualizing ideas. The first is Ghostreader from Readwise Reader. Readwise is a service that kind of acts like a middleware between your notes and the content that you consume. So you consume content, it goes into Readwise, and Readwise brings it over into Obsidian. Now, they also have an app that they call Reader, which is just an easy way to consume that data, whether it's articles or newsletters or a bunch of other things. I've made a video about it here, but in this video, I want to talk about Ghostreader in particular. This is a relatively new feature that I've briefly talked about before, but let's look at how it works. So this is Reader here. I've got an article open and there's lots of text here. So let's say I don't have much time. I can hit Command K to open up their command palette, and then I can type Ghostreader, or I could have also used the keyboard shortcut Shift G. So let me enter that now. And then there are a few things that I can ask it to do. So let's say summarize the document. You see the little ghost icon that comes up over there, and then you can go into Notebook here, and it says GPT added to document note. And it says Paizo Inc. has announced the creation of a new open, perpetual, and irrevocable open RPG creative license. So this is actually really good. It went through a lot of paragraphs, and this paragraph is not a direct word for word copy of any one of these. In fact, I'm not seeing any single sentence that even starts the same way. So it is a little bit smarter, a little bit more human than maybe you might think. So let's try something else. How about generate thought-provoking questions? And again, this will appear in the notebook here. All right, so now here's some questions. How will the Open RPG Creative License differ from the existing Open Game License? So these are actually really good questions, and questions that also didn't appear in the text the way that they are here. Let's try ask the document a question, and I'll say, why is Paizo creating a new open license? Let's see if it can answer that. Paizo is creating a new open license because they believe that open gaming makes games better, improves profitability. Okay, this is an excellent answer. Maybe it's something that some other companies should have thought of. Ghostreader uses GPT-3. GPT-3 is an algorithm that was developed by a company in San Francisco called OpenAI. And a lot of these AI tools are based on this very smart algorithm. Readwise uses Ghostreader as a way to summarize articles, but also as a way to generate prompts so that you can think more critically about the things that you read. In this case, there's a lot of legalese that's here, and it could be useful for someone to just get a quick summary of what this article is all about. It isn't supposed to be a replacement. This kind of reminds me of another service that I like, Shortform, where it isn't about just a pure summary. That is one of the things that it does, but I think that the best way to use AI for reading is to let it complement your reading. So actually read the thing and make your highlights and make your notes, but then also ask GPT-3 or Ghostreader a few questions and see if your answers would line up with its answers. Another tool that I'm using, which is using the same backbone as Ghostreader, but it's a little bit more open in that you don't just ask questions about a specific article, is called ChatGPT. You might have heard about this already. You can go to it at chat.openai.com and you can create your own account. It is completely free, at least for now, though I'd be surprised if they didn't start charging people for this at some point. But it is a little bit more freeform, so there's no article that's open. You can just type a question. So you can say, what is the Zettelkasten method? You can enter that and it's going to type stuff out word per word. And it's saying that it's a system for organizing and connecting notes or ideas developed by, okay, Nicholas Luhmann. So, yeah, I think it's gotten the gist of it. And you can regenerate response or you can ask it questions as if this were a conversation. If I type, why should I care about that? It knows without me saying, why should I care about the Zettelkasten methodology? It knows that I'm still talking about the same thing. It has a lot to say about the Zettelkasten method. Okay, so I can also open up a new chat, and just for something a little bit different, let's try something like, so I just said, give me an exposition for an adventure for 3 party members in a forest where a gold dragon lurks. Now, I'm not mentioning the terms tabletop role-playing game or Dungeons and Dragons or any of the better systems that you can play, but it is giving like a narrative lead in. So you can use this for role-playing games, but you can also use this for stories. So this is a whole thing with like a conflict that's saying as they continue their journey, the party comes across a group of druids and the druids reveal that the dragon is not an evil creature. I didn't type any of that. So that's actually kind of interesting that it can be a tool for sparking ideas. So it's not just about summarizing. ChatGPT is kind of like having a friend that has read a lot and can switch styles, like from technical to more fantastical, like in the fiction area, and is really a good sounding board. You might not use all of this, but hey, they came up with some pretty good ideas. The third app I'm using is an Obsidian plugin, and it is particularly good for writing out anything like an article or a note. So I've opened a new note here, and I'm going to call it Why Artificial Intelligence Can Be Dangerous. So I'm just going to type in a sentence or so just so it has something to work with. Now I've typed out a couple sentences here and I'm going to open up the command pane, that's Command or Control P, and then type text generator, and I'm just going to do generate text, which is like the most basic one. And what that's doing is it's looking at a few things, the title and the words that are already in the note. So it kind of continued on from that first line of thought, and it says it can also be dangerous because it can make decisions without considering the ethical implications. See, that's really awesome. I didn't instruct it to think like that, but it provided me that next paragraph. So there are a few other things that it can do. So if we go back into text generator, you can have also a templates package manager. So I already have the DALL-E 2 and the default prompts package here. You can even have this generate images, but I'm talking about writing right now because that's what I mainly use it for. And you can also generate and insert template. You'll see I already have a hotkey for this because I do use this sometimes. And there are so many things that I could do that all of these are the prompts that I installed from the default prompts package and from the DALL-E package as well. So these are all photos. But what if I want I wanted to brainstorm ideas. So I'm going to select that and it's thinking. Those little dots mean it's thinking. And here's how an article could go if I wanted to write about this. The importance of human oversight, which touches on a theme that I started in the first couple of sentences. And then the uses for AI, potential risks. So what I use this for is when I'm stuck, and I don't want to start with nothing. I want to have something to work with at least. And another thing is if I open up those templates again, I can say generate an outline. And it should go and look at all of the keywords that are on this note right now and then spit out like some headings. There's even an introduction and a conclusion. So first there's I like how it's like a problem and then solutions and then conclusion. It's kind of like thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, which is the Hegelian dialect. So I like that there's some logic to it. It's not just randomly spitting out keywords that happen to be similar. It's actually a pretty good algorithm that has gone through a lot of iterations. So this is useful. I would not trust this entirely. I wouldn't use it to write my work, basically. I would use it to generate ideas. And that's what I mean by it helps me to write. Not that it writes the things that I write on its own, but that it gives me other ideas for things that I didn't consider might have been related to this topic. The fourth app is something that's really awesome and I'm really excited about it. And it's also really new. Honestly, it's not new to people, it's just new to me because I saw it come up and I got access to it and I thought, I don't really need this. And it takes a while to understand what it actually can do for my systems. This new tool is called Napkin. Napkin solves the issue of having a lot of disparate notes without any real connections between them. One of the hardest parts about taking notes or taking good notes is actually processing them. And during that process, I usually try to tag them or, add links to some notes. And then it always is a little bit mixed. Sometimes I feel really good and I do all of the right linkages that I can think of and I'm thinking clearly. But sometimes I'm just tired, and I don't really feel like going through everything that I've read and making it easy to find later on. Napkin solves that by using AI to apply those tags for me. So I don't have to do any of it myself. It doesn't work with Obsidian yet, but it does work with Readwise, which is the service that I mentioned earlier with the Ghostreader AI reading tool. So let me show you what Napkin looks like. This is Napkin, and one of the best ways to start, I think, is to sync your Readwise account. And that's because if you're like me, you already have a lot of notes in Readwise, and that way you can just dump a lot of them in there. And then you can import them one by one. And I've heard that there are going to be ways where you can import more of your Readwise tools by bulk. And then you can start your daily review here. This is like a bit of a spaced repetition element to it where it shows you things that you haven't reviewed. The idea is that at the beginning of the day, you spend some time just going through a few of the notes that you haven't looked at. And that sounds like a chore, but honestly, it's kind of cool. The interface is really a pleasure to use, and it's only like a handful of notes a day. So let's go and start a review now. So the four central components of test ops. So right now you can see it's already tagged this with organization, hierarchy, documentation. So I would tag this with test ops. And then I'm going to hit the right arrow key to go to the next stop. That's it. Like that's all that I did because it already tagged things. So you can go through here and just review these notes and you don't even have to tag them. Sometimes they're already tagged for you. In this case, I'm going to add some tags like work. You see, when I typed in work, there are these new things that came up because they're also tagged work. Now, the cool thing is that most of these Napkin tagged on its own. I didn't really do it. It's just automatically exploring these linkages between them. So then I can see, oh, I have work culture here as well. This one isn't about work culture, but I wonder, that might be interesting. So I'll click on work culture and now I have a lot more notes, and it's even pulling up things that maybe are just tangentially related. Like this one doesn't have work culture and it's more about friendship, so a different kind of relationship. So I could just keep on clicking different tags here and just explore my notes in this way. So maybe I want to think about power. Now, if you'd asked me, have I really highlighted anything about power, I would say no, but I think Napkin's proving me otherwise, and it's finding things that are already there. So, how would I use this? I see two use cases for it. One is like a daily review sort of thing, and that's when you're not really researching a particular topic, you're just kind of looking for serendipity. And I would go into here and review all of the thoughts that I haven't looked at in a while, and then think about applying them to whatever it is that I'm working on in that day. And then the second use case for it is if I'm already researching or actively working on something, I could go in here and then look into one of these particular keywords. So if I want to do artificial intelligence, I might look at that, and I don't have artificial intelligence as a tag yet, but I do have intelligence. So let's go and have a look at those thoughts. So this is about deciding in advance what to fail at. The idea that intelligence involves emotional intelligence. So I can go through all of these and just kind of explore it. Intelligence and essentialism are linked. So what if I click on that? And now this is talking about politics, and you can see that I can jump from one thread to another. But these are my thoughts, my highlights. So there's still an element of me providing the input from Readwise, but it's not me that's categorizing them. This is like a very nice higher level before I start writing something, or maybe during a writing session. If I'm looking for inspiration, I like to go in here and just kind of explore what's here. So if you click on this link, then you can try it out for 30 days and you can cancel before then if you don't like it. Or if you do like it, then you can continue to sign up for one of their plans. Personally, I signed up for the $300 Believer plan, which is like a lifetime thing. So that goes to show you how much I love it and how I think I'm really going to be using it going forward as well. I think they're a very cool team and definitely worth a look. That was a very brief look at Napkin. Let me know in the comments below if you want to hear more about it. The fifth app that I've been using for AI in my PKM stack is called Midjourney. And you might be surprised because Midjourney is an AI, but it's meant for images. So it doesn't do words at all. It uses the same engine, but instead of analyzing a body of words, it analyzes images and the connection to words. So, how it works is in Discord, in a server, like this is my Patreon server. You can type imagine once you have the Midjourney bot set up, and you can type in really anything that you want. So I just typed out sci-fi, cyberpunk, dystopian, and queen in a postmodern fantasy setting. And let's see what it comes back with. So these are the results after a minute or so. Here are Midjourney's interpretations of what it is that I typed out. And they are so different and all of them are awesome. So from this point, I can request variations by clicking on the V's here, or I can also just blow up one of these images. I kind of like them all, so I'm going to upscale all of them because they are awesome. And then when they're done, you can click on them and they're much bigger and full scale. These are so cool. I think I might actually just use it for some games that I have coming up that are set in a sci-fi dystopia. But you might think that this is just for games. It's not. You can really put in anything. My good friend Zolt, who has an awesome channel about visual PKM, actually has a video where he shows how to use Midjourney for creating icons for visual thinking. So then once you have these icons, you can put them in your notes to express an idea. It's a way for people like me who aren't artists and can't really draw themselves to visualize something using words. So it's really perfect for me. And here's another thing that you might not have realized. If you clicked on this video, you might have seen that nice background. It was generated by AI. The prompt that I used for it was simple black outline of robot writing a book, stylized outline, red pigment background. And that's what it came up with. It was not what I was thinking, but it really was interesting enough for me to use it as my thumbnail. So Midjourney is one of those apps I never thought I would pay for. I'm not an artist myself, and I didn't really know what I would use it for, but I find it surprising me in the most delightful ways. And it really challenges my preconceptions. Sometimes it gets things right, sometimes it doesn't get things right, but whatever it is, it's always interesting that it comes up with. So that's 5 different AI-based tools that I'm already using today. Will AI in the future take over our jobs or the world or cheapen creative work as we know it? Well, that kind of depends on us. All AI depends on data. So, by giving it quality input, we can ensure that we're using it in the right way. We can use artificial intelligence to do a little bit of the grunt work so that we are freed up to explore higher levels of creativity and thought. If you liked hearing about Readwise Reader but you want to hear more about how to use it, then check out this video where I go over just that. Thanks for watching! Kita-kits sa McDo!